Welcome to Christ Centered. As we continue our study on Christian Denominations in America 101, we're going to continue with our study on the Southern Baptist Convention. Now, last week I went over the top 15 Protestant denominations in America, and this is number 1. And they hold 16 million members as of the year 2012, according to Wikipedia, which I'm going to be reading mostly from today. It also makes up the second largest Christian body in the United States after the Catholic Church. Now, I do want to create a little footnote here and mention with the Catholic Church that in the future we're going to discuss that more, and the Catholic Church in relevance to the quote-unquote Christian church or Protestant church, the one that most of us are used to. So there is a difference, but we are going to go over that eventually, but not now. The word Southern in Southern Baptist Convention stems from its having been founded and rooted in the southern United States. Following a split from Northern Baptist over the issue of forbidding southern slave owners from beginning ordained missionaries, members at a regional convention held in Augusta, Georgia, created the SBC in 1845. So that's a key date to remember, 1845. After the American Civil War, another split occurred when most black Baptists in the South separated from white churches to set up independent congregations, regional associations, and state and national conventions, such as the National Baptist Convention and the second largest Baptist Convention. So these are other things that we're going to go over as well, is some of these other different conventions, and it's very intriguing because, especially in the South, sometimes it gets referred to as a black Baptist or a white Baptist. So there's still, to some degree, a great deal of segregation, but I've actually seen some Southern Baptist churches. My uncle attended one in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where actually they had a lot of interracial couples, a lot of African Americans, and different races of people. So it has changed quite a bit with the Southern Baptist, but some of the other associations and conventions and so forth are still very segregated. Since the 1940s, the SBC has moved away from some of its regional identification. Especially since the late 20th century, the SBC has sought new members among minority groups and become much more diverse. In addition, while still heavily concentrated in the southern U.S., the SBC has member churches across the United States and 41 affiliated state conventions. So that goes back to what I said last week and confirms it, that there are some Southern Baptist conventions or Southern Baptist churches in the North, which I think is so ironic. At its annual convention in 2012, the SBC elected as president Fred Luther Jr., the first African American to hold the position. And this is something I did not know. That's a very monumental thing to mark here. There's the first African American to hold the position. A SBC presidential term is for 1 year with a limit term of 2 terms. Each president is elected by messenger sent by each local church at the SBC annual meeting. Since Luther ran unopposed, per the bylaws of the convention, only a single ballot was cast by the recording secretary to secure his election. Because of the historic nature of the vote, the assembly was asked to rise in support of the vote, which the messengers did enthusiastically. Luther was re-elected president for a second and final term at the 2013 meeting. Southern Baptists emphasize the significance of the individual conversion experience, which is affirmed by the person having a total immersion in water for a believer's baptism. And here's something else that's something we're going to end up talking about more, is baptism and the way they do baptism. As a result, they reject the practice of infant baptism. SBC churches are evangelical in doctrine and practice. Specific beliefs based on biblical interpretation can vary somewhat due to their congregational governance system, which allows autonomy to each individual local church. And this actually explains a whole lot to me now, because there has been issues with questions concerning the Southern Baptist, and as some of you know, some of you don't know, with our licensure, we're licensed under Care Discipleship Mission, but they're also somewhat governed under the Southern Baptist Conventions. There is an affiliation, but they are listed as autonomous. So this is really intriguing. So this actually makes sense now. This is something I didn't know. Let me read that again. Specific beliefs based on biblical interpretation can vary somewhat due to their congregational governance system. So it's up to the congregation, which allows autonomy to each individual local church. The Southern Baptist Convention has officially sanctioned the model of male headship and female subordination, making it a core belief in its Baptist faith and message, and that is according to the 2000 revision. Most early Baptists in the British colonies came from England in the 17th century. Now, I think that we're going more into the history now. I think we may stop here today before we go into the history. I think that might be a good idea. Now, of course, you can also go to wikipedia.com, type in Southern Baptist Convention, and read some of this for yourself. It's about 22 pages of notes, and it's all compiled from different resources, of course, and it's all listed. A lot of people talk down about Wikipedia, but for the most part, if you look through the resources, you can tell it's mostly legit. I think there may be a few flaws in here possibly, but I doubt very seriously. Some colleges do not like Wikipedia, but personally I have not found any flaws with it. So anyhow, the website for the Southern Baptist Convention is sbc.net. So be sure to look them up too. You can also request information there. Feel free to continue the study on your own. We're going to do a little more each week, and of course next week we will continue on with the history of the Southern Baptist Convention, which I touched a little bit of. It looks like it came from England in the early 17th century. So that's a pretty big deal. So this has a very rich history, and I think it's something that's going to help us understand this Southern Baptist Convention, and also maybe over time we'll understand why it is the largest denomination in the United States. And here's another interesting statistic here that I didn't note, but I'll note it right now. There are according to Wikipedia, 45,010 congregations in the United States, which is really magnificent. That's a lot of congregations. So it's really something. I think we're going to really enjoy this, and hopefully we'll learn something from it. And of course I'll talk to you about, I may put my opinions in here and there, and maybe mix in some interviews. So hopefully this is a blessing to you. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for Christ Centered, our regular edition, and next Monday, don't forget to tune in for more on the Southern Baptist Convention as we continue our series, Christian Denominationalism in America 101. God bless you. Take care. We love you. Bye-bye.